Good evening. My name is Jimmy McDermott. I am the Arts Program Director here at the Community House for the brand new Lai Hodgkin Arts Program. Really thrilled to welcome you here tonight, and really thrilled that we had to pull out more seats. So really liking this turnout. Thanks. As I said, I'm brand new to the position, and my first week on the job happened to coincide with the second rehearsal for the encore chorus, and I was working up in my office. They were rehearsing in an adjacent room here downstairs, and I was lured downstairs by the voices. Pressed my ear to the door, and I was really impressed with how full and rich the sound was, and that was during week 2, so if that's an indication, you're in for a real treat tonight. I hope you will join me in silencing your cell phones right now for the full performance. And I hope you'll keep your eyes peeled for further arts offerings that we have here at the Community House. We'll be working in visual art, performing art, digital art, and music, which is a relationship that we will proudly forge together with the encore chorus here. And without further ado, I'm going to give you over to the maestro and their artistic director, Jonathan Miller.
We are thrilled to be presenting our debut performance here at the Community House. The Community House has been a wonderful home for us, and let's let the music speak for itself. So without any further ado, this is about Pensiero from Verdi's Nabucco. chorus of older adults, generally aged 55 and up. We are a combination of different types of singers. Some of us are lifelong choral singers. Some are getting back into choral singing after a break of a few or many years. And some are brave and adventurous and ready to try something new, namely the fun of choral music. That's what Encore is. We've rehearsed here for the past 6 weeks at Community House, which has been a wonderful home for us. We'll talk a little later in the program about our upcoming fall session. Now back to the music. The song you just heard, Verdi's Va Pensiero, is a famous chorus from the opera Nabucco. Now in Italian, the word Nabucco is a nickname for Nabucodonosor, the king whom in English we call Nebuchadnezzar. The opera's plot is based on events recorded in the books of Jeremiah and Daniel, following the plight of the Jews as they are in turn assaulted, conquered, and exiled from their homeland. The lyrics translated from Italian follow the biblical verses which may be familiar to you: by the rivers of Babylon we sat down and wept. And the lyrics at the end are also an attempt to stir hope and steadfastness in the hearts of the exiles. Now, Va Pensiero has been so popular in Italy that there was a movement about 30 years ago to scrap the existing national anthem and put Va Pensiero in its place. Now, that attempt ultimately failed, but the song's popularity endures. And it turns out that both the song Va Pensiero and the whole opera Nabucco were the moment in Verdi's compositional career that established his permanent reputation as a composer. And he said later in life, it is certain that Nabucco was born under a lucky star. So we've started our concert with a lucky song. There's actually an Italian connection to our next song as well, because the composer who arranged the English folk song, The Water is Wide, is Luigi Zaninelli, an Italian-American born in all places, Raritan, New Jersey. He studied at the Curtis Institute and spent his career as a composer and an academic until his recent retirement. He sometimes composes under the stage name Lou Hayward, only in America. So here's the famous English folk song, The Water is Wide, arranged by Luigi Zaninelli.
Oh
piece, I can tell you a funny story about it. One of our singers asked me last week if I could give her some historical background on the folk song you just heard. I've heard it for most of my life, starting with the early Pete Seeger version that I heard as a young boy. There are many more recent covers by James Taylor, Eva Cassidy, Enya, the Cowboy Junkies, you name it. And the well-known British choral composer John Rutter did a beautiful a cappella version, which I've sung for about 30 years. Hal Hobson also has a version with new lyrics that is often sung in church weddings and appears in many hymnals. So I blithely assume that this song, like so many of the other English ballads I heard from Joan Baez and Bob Dylan, has had a history of several hundred years where the text and the tune were part of the same song. Imagine my surprise when I learned from the German folklorist Jürgen Kloss that the tune as we know it today was basically stitched together by the eminent folk song collector Cecil Sharp in his book of Somerset folk songs, published first in 1906. So the song as we know it is really just over 100 years old. He took a couple notes from this tune, and a couple notes from that tune, and a couple notes from that tune, and put it together with words that had no connection to that tune at all, and basically concocted this thing which now feels like it's 100 years old, but it isn't. Anyway, such is the life of discovery, and it's a beautiful song and a beautiful arrangement by Mr. Zaninelli. Now for another marriage of old and new material. One of the oldest prayers from the Roman Catholic tradition is the Requiem Mass, which is said, as is the Jewish mourner's Kaddish, in memory of a loved one. The next piece is one of the prayers that is often included in a musical setting of the Requiem, and the text is the Lux Aeterna. It's in Latin, and it translates as follows. Grant them eternal rest, O Lord, and let perpetual light shine upon them. Let eternal light shine upon them, Lord, with your saints in eternity, because you are holy. The exquisite musical setting is by the living American composer Tom Porter, who is a few years older than me and lives in North Dakota, where he's a university teacher and a choral director. Now, one of the great things about programming works by living composers is you can talk to them. We don't know what J.S. Bach had in mind when he wrote the B minor Mass, but I emailed Tom Porter and he emailed me back the next day. That is just so cool. I asked him a little bit about the history of this song and where it came from, because as a composer myself, you sometimes compose just because you have a piece inside you, and you sometimes compose to a specific occasion or based on a particular relationship. In this case, Tom told me that Lux Aeterna was written in memory of a friend of his, Bill Schmidt, a teacher who grew up in the same community as Tom and taught Tom's children. Bill Schmidt died in 2010, and this lovely piece by Tom Porter was published 2 years later. And when I asked Tom what was the genesis of the piece and why did he write the kind of music that he wrote, what he said was, I wanted to write something for Bill that was based on the traditional chant and text from the Requiem Mass, but also focused on the concept, grant him peace and eternal rest. I also wanted the piece to be serene and hopeful, and it certainly is that. So there are two main melodies in the piece. The tenors and basses begin with a rather slow and flowing melody that is the original plain chant, and there's another new modern melody on the word Lux Aeterna, which is original to Tom Porter, and then he combines them in really beautiful ways as the piece unfolds. Please enjoy. so much. You can see why we love that piece. It's so beautiful. In the Encore Chorale, we are blessed to have the opportunity to work with a gifted pianist, Lisa Lord, who serves as our accompanist every week in rehearsal. We're happy to give her an opportunity to shine as a soloist, and now is the time for us to enjoy those gifts in The Root Beer Rag by Billy Joel. So Lisa will give us that piece. We're just going to adjust the piano a little bit. So the sound comes out your way. Very good. It's amazing all that goes in to a beautiful performance.
Things I can think of to have would be an ice cold beer. So
Chicago, That Toddlin Town, published in 1922. And this is a sing-along, so you guys get involved here. I want to just give you a few quick notes on some of the historical references in the lyrics. Can I see a show of hands of those of you out there who remember smelling the Chicago stockyards? Yeah. Well, Chicagoans shared the delights and products of our stockyards from 1864 to 1971, and in the latter years, the year I moved to Chicago as a boy. Now, we know that nobody really wants to see how a hot dog gets made, but in its heyday, there were 25,000 people employed in the meatpacking industry in Chicago doing exactly just that. And at one point, 82% of the meat consumed in the U.S. was produced right here in the Chicago stockyards. That is a lot. And of course, you couldn't consume all those hot dogs without wanting to wash it down with a beer or some whiskey or something like that. That leads us to a gentleman who's mentioned in the song. His name was Billy Sunday. Billy had been a professional baseball player, but when he found the gospel at the Pacific Garden Mission in Chicago, he chose to spend the rest of his life spreading the good word. And at the time, that meant trying to lead folks away from what he considered the evils of drink. This was during Prohibition. Now, Billy was quite a guy with a lot of charisma, but he couldn't get Chicagoans to stop making and selling hooch, which is why the lyrics call Chicago the town that Billy Sunday could not shut down. That's what those lyrics mean. So, in your program here, you'll see, right there, are the lyrics to the sing-along that we're about to do. We'll sing the opening section with you. Sing along as best you can, belt it out, just like encore, there's no audition. So we'll do all that together, and then we'll teach you how the song gets put together. So let's give it a whirl. Choir up, please. Historical reference. When the choir has the verse, listen for a reference to College Inn. You know those cans of chicken broth that you get at the grocery store? Those are named after the classy restaurant in the famous Sherman Hotel, which used to be located at the corner of LaSalle and Randolph in downtown Chicago on the site of the current Thompson Center. The Sherman was elegant. The Lithuanian Jew who took over the hotel and made it a success did so in part by insisting not only on having live music, but it wasn't live classical music, which was what all the other hoity-toity hotels were doing. He had everyone dressed up in tuxedos and the waiter all gussied up, but he brought them live jazz. Nobody else in Chicago was doing that at the time, and it made College Inn and the Sherman Hotel a draw. That's why the lyrics say in the verse, in that college from professors you learned to jazz. Now jazz was a verb at that time, just like you might say, let's tango, or let's swing, or let's foxtrot. So learning to jazz meant there were people at the College Inn in the Sherman Hotel who would teach you how to dance to jazz music. That's what that's about, just so you're wondering. And if you weren't wondering, that's what it is anyway. So let's get ready and sing. If you want to stand up and belt it out along with us, that's fine too. Here we go.
Show
produced. Congratulations, you've just performed with the Encore Chorale for the first time. Now, if you like what you're seeing and hearing and you'd like to do more and be part of it, we would love that too. Encore Chorale rehearsals will resume here the Thursday, September 15th, the week after Labor Day, from 10 o'clock to 11:30 in the morning, right here at the Community House, for a 15-week fall session, mostly holiday music with performances in December, including performances here, and fun holiday repertoire. We are so gratified, we're really astounded at the response. When we began Encore here in the Chicago area earlier this year, we had no idea that we would have 6 Encore Chorale locations this fall. But that's what we have. Well, it takes amazing singers, it takes a lot of people behind the scenes, including my wife and business partner and fellow visionary, Sandy, who's singing tenor. Gold Coast, Hyde Park, Evanston, Hinsdale, Oak Park River Forest, and Arlington Heights. So if you know anyone who lives any of those places and wants to sing, let them know this is available. Rehearsals are always on a weekday when it's light outside. In your program, there's a link to our website, or a mention of our website, encoreillinois.org. There's no audition. You don't ever have to have sung in a choir before, or you could have sung in a choir your whole life. We welcome everyone. Encore concerts like this are always free to the community, and we offer scholarships to singers who are unable to pay the entire tuition. If you feel that what we're doing is worth supporting, we would appreciate your financial support. A little history: Encore began in the early 2000s in the Washington, D.C. area as part of a groundbreaking study that was done, funded by the National Endowment for the Arts, the National Institutes of Health, and George Washington University. The great researcher, Dr. Gene Cohen of blessed memory, wanted to study what happened to older adults when you put them in organized artistic activities under the direction of a professional artist. So they had visual arts, they had choral music, a bunch of different modalities. The research was very convincing at showing how much improved the emotional and health outcomes are for older adults who participate in artistic activities under the direction of a professional artist. When you compare the control group results versus the people who were doing the art forms, everything that they measured was improved in the people who did the art forms. So our job in Encore is to keep older adults vibrant and healthy by offering a place where anyone who wants to participate can join in one of our choirs. Your support allows us to keep pursuing our mission to touch as many lives as possible with the joy and energy of choral music. There's a small form in your concert program if you'd like to make a tax-deductible donation to Encore Illinois. There will be a nice colorful basket on the way out if you'd like to drop that in, or if you'd like to donate securely online, you can do that at encoreillinois.org, and we would be most grateful for your support. Most importantly, we create a fun, supportive environment. I think these singers look like they're having a good time. You can too. We'd love for you to sing with us. There's no audition. Singers who need to can be seated in rehearsal or performance as is appropriate for them. All that is required is the desire to sing, and all are welcome. So, if you are age 55 or older, or you'd like to pretend that you are, we would love to have you and your friends. And before we sing our last song, I just want to give a big shout out and another big thank you to Jimmy McDurritt, to Jen Fabian, all of the staff at the Community House for making us welcome. Thank you so much for giving us a home. And Kate Votes has been our go-to gal for most of the summer. We just really appreciate everyone's help. Now, our last song is an arrangement of the African-American spiritual Joshua at the Battle of Jericho. And I just want to give you a little background on this song. In my work as artistic director of Chicago A Cappella, we've programmed a lot of African-American spirituals over the 23 years that group's been going. About 5 years ago, I decided to do a medley of African-American spirituals where the characters were all in the Old Testament, reflecting my own Jewish background. So I decided to take Go Down Moses, Didn't My Lord Deliver Daniel, and Joshua Fit the Battle of Jericho, and I kind of smushed them together in a medley. We actually recorded it on our Bound to Glory album. I was very proud of that piece, but they didn't have a piano part. So when it came time to think about programming a spiritual for Encore, I took most of the music from the Joshua setting, which was the very end of that medley, added a piano part, and here's what we have. Now, there's something that happens toward the end. The sopranos are telling the story about Joshua and his band marching around the city of Jericho, and they had lamb, ram, sheep horns. So that means a lamb horn, a ram horn, and a sheep horn. Well, in Jewish tradition, that's the shofar that you blow on Rosh Hashanah, which is the Jewish New Year. In fact, the one commandment that we're commanded to do on Rosh Hashanah is to hear the sound of the shofar that announces the new year. So the altos and tenors and basses have two sounds. One of them is, can I have a D? That's the first loud blast that the shofar does, and the other one is. So we actually make both of those sounds. So if you're wondering what that is, they're being the shofar that the sopranos are singing about. So that's a little background for what it's worth, and here is Joshua fit the Battle of Jericho. shower these wonderful singers with congratulations. So please do that and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you again to the Community House for hosting us. Thank you so much for making our debut successful and wonderful. And give another round of applause to these amazing singers.